All right, so this one takes place in Southern California, which, quite a bit of ways from Michigan where we were last time. And this is called the South California Not Deer. I commute for my job. It's a retail job, but I live in a rural area in the Southern California foothills. It is currently my only option. I drive home every night near 1 a.m. I take the highway. It's always deserted at these times, and some nights were more peculiar than others, but nothing so extreme as this incident. It's not uncommon for me to see a lot of wildlife on these drives. I would take it slow and be alert. Occasionally I'd see a black-tailed deer, coyotes, raccoons, etc. One recent night, it was only about 10 minutes away from home. I rode up to the usual four-way stop that I stopped at 100 times before. Not a soul around. Came to a complete stop. I saw something standing just off by the side of the road across the intersection. It was obviously an animal. It was headed toward the road, so I was going to wait for it to cross. It took me a second to really comprehend what it was at first. I thought it was a horse, which, although dangerous, wouldn't be that uncommon for where I lived due to irresponsible ranchers and their constantly broken fences. Then as I started to make out more what it was, it neared the light of the headlights. I realized something was very wrong with this animal. It was tall, so much so the legs looked stilt-like. As I sat there, shocked, it slowly stepped onto the road and came across my car's direct beam of a headlight. At this point, I realized two things. One, it was much taller than my car. Its height was monstrous. Two, its gait was very odd, almost like it didn't know how to properly walk as a deer should. It was like all the joints wanted to bend the wrong way. It moved slowly into the oncoming lane and it swiveled its head to look back at me. All the hair on my body rose. What spooked me the most was that there was certainly a deer, or at least something that looked like one. It looked normal every way except for the spiral-like legs it was standing on. At this point, I gasped the car, and the deer stood unmoving as my car sped by. I looked in my rear-view mirror, caught a glimpse of it crossing the oncoming lane back into the shoulder of the highway, illuminated red by my brake lights. When I got home, I ran into my house and locked myself in. I'm still understandably freaked out.
That's terrifying. They're all definitely really want you to know how tall this thing is.
Yeah.
And kind of I'm still at the death claw, man, those legs. Until like skinny legs, man.
Yeah, but what I found interesting about this is, while he didn't necessarily say it had intelligent eyes, it said it stared at him, right? Which seems to be intelligent, right? Same thing with the first guy. Skinny legs, or skinny appendages, really tall, and some sort of intelligence. And then, like, this guy described it as looking like a deer, but not a deer.
What do you do when that happens? Is it like Jurassic Park with the T-Rex? Like, you don't move, it won't see you. Like, what do you do in that?
So he decided to gun it and run it there. He was just like, get out of there.
It's out of there. I don't know what I would do. I can almost see where you'd be like frozen, though, right? Like frozen in time.
Yeah.
As you're experiencing this, like I don't know what I'd do. A lot of people are asking some form of, do you think this is the same thing from the first story? Let me ask you this as we get further in these stories. So you're obviously sharing them for a reason. So what's the connection that you saw to these? Was it a bunch of people like piggybacking off of each other?
These I found, so I mentioned they had different authors. They're also months or even a year apart. And they're also vastly different parts of the country. Nothing like was connecting them except for there are similarities in like the height, the strange way it walks, the seeming intelligence, just like some otherworldliness to it. Yeah, they all kind of describe something that put them off when they saw it. To me, that speaks to something else, something not natural in terms of being an animal. And my current working theory, there's still one more story to get through, but my current working theory is something like a forest god.
A forest god?
Yeah.
If you look up, uses Forrest Gump.
Yeah. If you look up any picture of a forest god, they look like really tall, deer-like creatures with different, like, somewhat intelligent-looking faces.
A lot of people are commenting it reminds them of like an alien or something.
That's fair. I mean, what's the difference between a god and an alien?
Dang, you just got real deep there. I can't answer that. I don't know. Like I said before, as we've talked about, as we've shared so many stories now, the nighttime definitely throws you off on being able to visually see the size of something.
Yeah.
So that makes you wonder, it's like something that's really big, but probably seem just gigantic, you know what I mean, at night. So I'm not surprised by that at all, but I don't know. I'm curious if that first one was at night, though. So yeah, land and water now, though. Nowhere near water on the second one, right?
No, Southern California, which I think is a pretty dry area.
They don't have any water there.
That's the problem.
There's no water in Southern California. So yeah, point being there seems to be no limit to where it's going to go, at least.
Yeah, but it does have it. Like the first one ran into the woods afterwards. You can see that this is like something that lives near the forest, possibly.
You should call that into the unknown.
Yeah,
it's a desert god, Luke.
Maybe it's a desert baby. And that last one isn't there though.
Well, I don't know. I will say this though. This is what it's starting to remind me of, though.
You saw the dog, didn't you? The black dog. I've heard truckers talk about it on the yard. They say it comes to take everything away from you.
And it did.
It did. I love the guy in the back seat. He's like, this goofy.
Yeah, he's all. Yeah, I know. He's all excited. That's such a good movie. That's what it's. That's like you're seeing these phantom things though. It's like the black dog.
Jeff Townsend Media. CG, good night.
And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?